a mom or dad that's just trying to be involved in their child's life. Maybe they don't have everything figured out yet, but they're trying. Shame on you for not letting them in. What up, guys? It's Michael Horn from Fatherhood Podcast here, coming in today with a special episode. It is a solo episode. I want to take some time to discuss co-parenting, kind of the ins and outs of it, early stages, some of the struggles you may have, the wins and losses, and just kind of how to navigate, coming out of that relationship or your divorce or wherever you're at in that stage. Unfortunately, it is a common thing these days, and we want to accommodate parents that are in those situations. While some of these discussions may be tough, some of these discussions I may show, I'm trying to be very neutral, but some of these things are going to hit certain spots with me, so my response is going to be different. And I just encourage you to go into this one as you watch this with an open mind. So without further ado, we'll jump into it. You will probably see me rocking the hat the rest of the episodes for a few months. I decided I'm going to grow my hair out. I don't think I've ever really done it, except maybe during COVID. If you guys should just bear with me, it's going to be, I don't know what's going to happen, but we're just going to roll with it. So bear with me as we do this. Just kidding. I will say that I'm filming this after I had the ability to sit down with a mom and discuss co-parenting from her angle. And so I don't know if I've fully revealed it on the show or not. It's my life, and I guess I really can't. There's no way of sugarcoating it. I don't think I've brought it up. Obviously, people that know me, I am a co-parent as well. Yes, I'm married and have a wife, but our family dynamics are very unique. I come into this with 2 boys, and she comes into it with a daughter herself. And then we also have a daughter that we birthed together. That's not the word. And then we also share a daughter. So we have 4 kids at our house. The rule at our house is everybody's treated the same, and regardless who birthed them or who didn't birth them, when they're here in our walls, they're our children, and we expect the same when they are with their other parents. And so that's kind of where we stand on that. So, if I'm going to be real and upfront, I think it's very important to share kind of how my dynamics come into play here. So I do bring some co-parenting experience to the table here, and we, in our co-parenting journeys, we're all in different phases and paths. So, and it's neat to see how it all plays out and how it gets there. So co-parenting. What do I mean by co-parenting? I'm not talking to parents that are just divorced. I'm talking to whether whoever you were, you had a kid, and you're no longer together. I don't know what the dictionary definition is. I don't know what the legal definition is. I know some people hear co-parenting and think immediately it's, mom and dad just recently divorced. You can be co-parents without even ever being married. And I don't want to confuse this segment. With step parenting. While that's important as well, and it's part of the co-parenting, I'm going to have my own episode for that as well. We're going to talk that. This is just specifically kind of the co-parenting thing and how you navigate successfully raising your children when no longer living in the house or no longer being together. So let's just get right into it, man. And before we get started, if you're a co-parent, go ahead and like this video, comment below how long you've been co-parenting for. Some of you guys may be a week into this, and some of you guys may be like me, with my oldest son, could be 15 years into this. So I'd like to know where you're at in your co-parenting journey. So let us know in the comments below. So let's talk early mistakes of co-parenting. Let's just get right into it. Regardless of the mom or the dad, I think in the beginning stages of co-parenting, we have a big issue with emotions, and not emotions with, are they doing the right thing for the kids or the child, or are they thinking best interest of the child? Unfortunately, most co-parenting situations are coming off normally something rocky, right? And so I think a lot of times you get that emotional sense where you just one up each other, or you want to make things difficult for one another. And I'm just going to be like, you can say that's not you. You can say I never did that. There's a part of you somehow. There's a part of you that before you thought about the child, thought about the other person. I did it. I've been on the receiving end of that. I think we all do. I want you to know, if you're in the early phases if there's one takeaway you can get from this whole thing, if you're in the early stages of co-parenting, let's just say you recently just broke up, just got divorced, you've separated, you're no longer in the same households. The quickest way to make this 10 times easier is to take the emotional side of things out of it between the two parents. Is that easy? No. Is there a shortcut to taking care of that? No. It's on you two as the parents to figure out how to navigate that. But the quicker you get there, the better everybody's life is, more specifically or more importantly, it's way better for the child or children if there's multiple. So that early on, you're going to be encountering things, schedules are going to change. I mean, think about just in your marriage or in a relationship or when you're with somebody, like there's things that we all do differently. We all have certain things that are important to us, whether it be bedtimes or the clothes or the nutrition or different little things as parents, even when you're, you know, not co-parenting, you're just a mom and a dad living in the same house. You all have there's things that tilt the scale for each parent. That's just normal. So then think about those little minor arguments you might have as the parents living under one roof, and then divide that and then throw some anger in there and some emotion. And all of a sudden those things are huge. And that's where you have to understand the important thing is that both parents want the best for the child, and understand that this episode specifically is about parents that both are equally involved. I know there's going to be some situations where someone's going to come and be like, oh my God, the son of my kids won't do this or this, or the moms do this, and this. Like, again, there's probably going to be multiple series to this because this is just about two parents who are equally involved trying to get to the finish line. When I say the finish line, just kind of with the routines established and kind of going about your day and moving on with your lives while raising your child together. I don't know how to say this. Dads, I'm going to be real. Early on in my co-parenting journeys, I'm speaking specifically to me, but I know it's probably something that all dads go through some, and it really depends on your state as well. So, and honestly, I feel like now the court system is a little bit more in favor of equal parenting. Now, if I was doing this podcast 20 years ago, I don't know. I think back then it was still very heavily favored towards the mom, regardless how great the dad was. And that's maybe a topic for a different day. But I spent a lot of time early on tiptoeing through my life to not upset the mother. And what I mean by that is I wanted to avoid like legal actions, because in my mind that soon as the court system got involved, or soon as, somebody served somebody with papers or whatever, I immediately thought I was going to become every other Wednesday, what is it? Wednesday and every other weekend kind of dad. That was kind of like the standard things you heard around our state. I don't know where it's at where you are. And so I always thought that was how it would flow. I thought I was going to be paying in a tremendous amount of child support and then only getting to see my son a bare minimum amount of time. Keep in mind, I am a very active dad. I'm very, I've been operating my life without a dad, as you probably heard in numerous episodes. And so the last thing I want as a very active dad is for somebody to say, hey, you can only see your kids Wednesday night and every other weekend. That won't fly with me. Like, that would never fly with me. I would lose my mind. So I will say that it's been a blessing to be able to work alongside the people I co-parent with to ensure that our schedules have lined out. And I thank them for that. But early on, I do feel like as a man, especially a young man, I was in my early 20s, so you can see where you're at there. I feel like you start tiptoeing around. If you don't have anything set up legally or on paper, I feel like you do whatever you have to do to keep mom at bay. And that gets very heavy. You don't really feel like you can move on with your life, and you feel like you constantly owe an explanation for where you're at or what you're doing, even when you're not with your child. And I'm talking early on now. So I wish I would have allowed the legal process to take place sooner, because as those eventually happened, you can kind of move on about your life and live your life. But I think when you try to navigate parenting as a man, especially as a dad, If you try to navigate about like, hey, let's just keep the courts out. I'll get the kids this, and this, and just let me see them on this day, and let me do this. It's like you're allowing the mother to dictate your life, and y'all can freak out or whatever you want to do. That's how it goes. And I'm not saying that was the exact case in my situation, but I am saying that if there was anything that would have brought adversity or an argument on, I was so worried it would impact me seeing my son, or something like that. And that's not the case. I want to reiterate that my co-parenting that I do with both my boys is amazing. It's not always been that way. It's taken a lot of work and a lot of selflessness and a lot of humility, and we've all gotten there. But there is those stages early on where you feel like, oh, I'm gonna get slammed on child support. I'm never gonna see my kids. Like, I just want to, whatever I can do to make this easier, I'll do. And simply, I don't think that happens. I think you prolong pulling off that Band-Aid, and you just need to pull it off. And hopefully it's a situation where you guys can sit down and draw out a schedule that works for you, and draw out kind of like where the financial boundaries are and stuff like that, and then just have a mediator kind of run through it with you. That's not going to be everybody's case. I know some people have a lot more things attached. Uh, I know in my case, the only thing that was being negotiated was the child. Like, some people have a lot more things going on, or needing drug tests, or needing rehabilitation, or needing counseling. Like, we didn't have anything like that, so I can't speak for those one-offs. But so if you're co-parenting in your early 20s, I would suggest trying to insert when I say legal, I'm just saying it's on record, it's signed off by a judge, and it gives you a little bit more freedom to just move on with your life. I know that can be, I don't know how that feels for moms as well. I'm just speaking from a dad's point of view. But yeah, there was times, man, I just felt really very handcuffed with what I was allowed to do in my own life, personal life, because I didn't want to upset their mom or whatever. That's not how you should have to live your life. I think one of the biggest tips I want to give those early on stages is get some mediation, do what's right financially for your child. I had this big complex when I was younger that, I'll take care of my kid and I don't need to be paying for her habits and paying for this and paying for that. Like, that, you got to put that to the side. Like, now child support and what all costs and all that stuff, like, that's a totally different subject. One that I'm not willing to get into right now. Some people are getting very screwed by that process, men and women. Hold on, I better plug in the camera. I'm gonna be honest with you, the camera almost died, and I rushed to charge it, so I have no idea where I'm at. I think I'm stuck in mediation or something. Who knows? Who knows? So hopefully I can smoothly transition out of that. That was some of the early mistakes that I made. I think we all make, is trying to handle it on our own. Too often, man, emotions fly early on. Early co-parenting is tough. I would love to hear what your guys' early experiences were, what the toughness was. I think as a dad, and I have a topic called expectations versus courtesies. I feel like we also, we go through stages in co-parenting where we think we're entitled to know everything about the child when they're not with us. Sometimes also, I think we think we're entitled to know everything about the other person. Uh, and that's not the case. I think as you mature, that changes. But early on, man, like, I'm just going to call my own self out. I would think early on that I was entitled to know, where I was, if you're going to bring another man around my kid, I got to meet him first. I got to shake his hand. I got to let him know, hey, man, you do something wrong, my boy, it's over. Like, that was my thought process. Seriously, I really thought that I could dictate who was in and out of my child's life when they weren't at my house. And I think as a man and that protector, you want that. Also, I think it's hard. You got to swallow your pride sometimes, because when you do co-parent, normally it's coming off a breakup or a divorce. And so eventually there's going to be other people involved. And I think as a young man, I got wrapped around, like, I got to dictate who was going to be around my child with my ex or whatever. Moms, dads, I got news for you. You don't control any of that. Anything that's shared to you is a courtesy. And as I've gotten older, I've learned that it's not my job. I don't have the authority to dictate who's around my kids. all I can control is the fact if I have to put trust into, the other parent that, well, do I really think they're going to put my child in a situation that's dangerous, or do I really think they're going to put that child in a situation where they're around untrustworthy people? And I think that doing that, you can step back and be like, okay, I know they want the best for the kid, and so they're dating somebody, and I'm not a fan favorite. Like, as long as the child's safe and they're not being exposed to things that go against your moral values and stuff that you all agree on as parents, like, get out of the way. You don't deserve to know everything. And that's not just with the other person dating, that's with life. I don't know how it is for moms. I will say, as a dad, I feel like this on it. Like, I feel like I had to say, oh, I'm giving him a bath. Don't worry, I'm giving him a bath. Don't worry, I'm putting him in bed at this time. Don't worry. Oh, he ate. Yes, he ate, and he ate 3 chicken nuggets, and he's watching an age appropriate show. Like, as a dad, you feel like, I don't now. As a dad, you feel like the mom is still like oh man, am I going to use, I'm going to use the word puppet master, and not as a knock at the mom. I'm saying they still have that big stamp. Like, still have that big stamp of exception or rejection. And it may be just me, but I think there's a lot of dads out there that maybe can agree. And there's probably a lot of moms that can agree. And if you don't, I hope you just understand. This is not to say, I'm trying to get you to understand, to where maybe if you're in a situation where you guys are struggling as co-parents, that some of the stuff that I say will help make sense. But I definitely felt like I had to get the authority or the approval, like the prerequisites. You know what I'm saying? Like, before you move on to the next level, I got to get the stamp of each task that I completed as a single dad with the other parent. And you don't have to do that. You don't have to. Now, there needs to be safety. Obviously, this is with no extreme circumstances. This is everybody's safe. Nobody's on drugs. Nobody's having alcohol around the kid. Nobody's unsafe. This is just standard co-parenting. Emotions run heavy, and I look back to, like, maybe some messages way early on, and it's like, I don't have to tell you who's at my house. I don't have to tell you if he's asleep or not. Those are things that you don't have to share. And I think one of the biggest problems in co-parenting is expectation versus courtesies. I'm expected, we need to share things when a child's hurt, when something major happens at school, any accidents, any successes, anything that is, think about your work. You're not going to go tell your vice president of where you work about every little day-to-day issue. You're going to capture the big things. So if we're the two executives for a company, I want you to feed me the big stuff. And so I think in co-parenting, you look at it like that, to where I don't need to know every move and stuff. And like, anything that you share outside of big stuff is a courtesy. And I really do believe that's big. If you're like somebody in your 20s up to maybe like your early 30s, you might be in that window of like expecting that other parent to tell you everything. Or, you didn't send me pictures. You went to Monkey Joe's and you didn't tell me you're going to Monkey Joe's, and I didn't know. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. You don't have the right to know. And that may fluster some people, but that it is what it is. And so I've learned that, especially when it's like not your weekend, don't blow them up. Like, let that parent, our time has been reduced. Think about it. When you send them to a co-parenting arrangement, the time at home with that child has now been cut, in most cases, half. So when you are with that child, when the other person is with that child, let them just enjoy their time together. And I commend, man, like where I'm at in co-parenting now, we are great with that. Like, everybody, we share the top level stuff, but for the most part, day to day, you let that person enjoy the experiences and have fun and everything. And you check in. Like, I know I have a co-parent with one of my oldest sons who is about to get his license, and he's in high school. So we're still, some of the topics we're talking about is his, cars and rules versus expectations, curfews, scheduling at school, what's important. And then you combine heads as the parents to make those determinations. And then my youngest, we're in a potty training phase. So sometimes it's like, hey, he didn't have any accidents this week. He's been in underwear. He slept in underwear. He's didn't have any accidents, or hey, um, watch out at your house. He's been saying, my almost 3-year-old, he's been saying, what does he say? Okay, fine. Okay, fine. And so that's not, he's obviously been getting disciplined for that. And so it's like, hey, you know, he's been being a little turd sometimes, and he's been saying this statement, or he's been saying, like, some people, let's just put, some people have a kid, maybe the kid's saying a bad word, their kid's saying shut up or something. You're like, hey, look, he or she's had a rough week. Um, been saying this word, just here's what I've been doing. I've been doing 2-minute timeout, or I've been taking this away. Those are healthy co-parenting conversations. Like, those are what you should share. Also, don't undershare. I talked to somebody, and it's like, they wrote in for one of their co-parenting things, and it's like, I can't even talk to you about oversharing because I can't get any information. Like, they do, their schedule was like a week on and a week off. And a lot of people do that. Whew, that would be hard for me. I think logistically it's probably a lot easier. But for 3 days in a row, the kid went to school. This kid had been sick. And so then the other parent picked him up. The other parent picked him up only to realize, like, hey, it's day 4, still running 102-degree temperature on day 4, but I didn't know you were sick at all. So we have to share those things. You have to be humble enough, regardless if you're single, in a relationship, married, whatever that may be. You got to respect that other parent enough just to communicate the important things. Those things are important. Those are just healthy ways to communicate and to share. But I really want to hit home on a lot of the things that we expect to be told in co-parenting early on. You're not entitled to know. You're not entitled to know. Anything that's shared like that is a courtesy. You need to check yourself and make sure that you're in alignment with doing what's best for the kid and not just wanting to be nosy. Again, I'm not in that situation anymore. Thank you, Jesus, because those days, I'm sure if they watch this, anybody that's been through those days and out of it now, you're like, oh my God, like, that was miserable. That was miserable. And your kids they can feel the anguish, and they can feel things when things are good. So as you talk about communication, there's multiple methods out there. There's text messages. I know some people have to use, like, there's an app where you can communicate back and forth. And some of you are going to say, well, Michael, what if the best communication is no communication? You almost had some serious problems. Like, if you can't come together and talk for your children, there's probably a big reason why you're not together. 2, I think you two as the adults need to check yourselves in the mirror and say, why can't I talk to this person about our child? Again, remove the emotions. That's the hard part, is removing the emotions. You get 10 years down the road, they're different, but when you're co-parenting young kids, you got to put those emotions aside and talk about share the things that need to be shared. I discussed this with had a mom on, so that episode will release after this one. Had a mom on, and I told her, I did tell her, dads always feel like if the mom doesn't want to share something, she doesn't have to, but the dads feel obligated to. And I don't know if that's just how it's structured, just from maternal to paternal. I don't know. Because even if you have 50-50 custody, equal time sharing, there's still that primary custodial parent. So normally, unless it's a case of unsafe behavior, drugs, or lack of housing or something, normally that's going to be the mother. And so I think it's like, and then you add that little extra stamp, and it just kind of elevates a little bit. So it's tough. It's tough. It's tough to navigate, and I do ask that moms that are co-parenting with dads that are really trying and really working, I do ask that you shed a little grace, because it's hard as a man it's just tough sometimes. I know it's tough for everybody, but men, we're naturally a little bit rough around the edges anyways. If you're co-parenting well, your life is easier. And co-parenting is not always easy, even when the relationship has gotten a lot better, because at the end of the day, we all see things differently. One of my biggest problems, and I'm being honest, one of my biggest problems is I'm so active of a dad. I'm so involved as a dad that I find myself making decisions for the child without either prior communication or without even talking about things with the other parent. And it's not malicious. It's just I'm a very active dad, and I do think dads lead a household. The father should be leading a household, and I think I'm guilty of sometimes trying to extend what I want of the child and for the child into their homes, and that's not fair. That's not right. We all have our own way of handling things, and so I know I do that sometimes, and so I'm sorry. I don't mean to override opinions or make that because I said so final statement. I think I just get so caught up in wanting the best for my kids that I think that I have made the best decision without consulting others, and that's not fair. So when you get in that stage, whether you're mom or dad, if you start dictating things because you're the scheduler, maybe you're the doer of all the tasks, and then all of a sudden with that just becomes like you default to start making decisions on your own like you would if you were married or together or whatever, and that's not the case. You're not with that person, so they have to have some insight into what's going on, and I've struggled with that because I am such a prideful dad. And being a prideful active dad doesn't give you the ability, or being a prideful active mom doesn't give you the ability or the right to overrule the other parent without discussions. And so just think about that. If you're the mom or the dad in that situation where you're kind of dictating the flow of the life for the child because you're used to, maybe step back a little bit and just slow down and help let those decision making things come between the two of you. On the flip side of that, let's talk values and morals a little bit. As you co-parent and people branch off, things may change. Like life goals that they have for life, or things that you had in plan for life, may change, and you got to figure out how to discuss that. Luckily, I mean, I'm blessed. Like for my oldest son, I think about like church today. It's the seating order is literally me, my wife, my oldest son, and then it's his mom and her fiance. Like we're in the same row at church. Like those values and stuff line up. So those aren't really obstacles or hurdles we have to jump. But I do know in some households, you start getting to that age to where, whether it be about church or extracurricular activities or dating, or some parents are more okay with experimental lifestyles versus the other one who's pretty like straight edge. Like you start getting to those things, those are going to be some tough moments as parents. And I will tell you this right now. You better get on board and find a common ground for the values and morals, because it's about shaping that child. And yeah, although your marriage or your relationship may have not worked out and you may be separated now, you want to be able to try to redeem those qualities in your children. And so maybe one day when they go to get married, like they're taking the best qualities from both of you. You got to get your morals and values lined up. And that's what there's a lot of confusion on when you say I got 50-50 custody. Well, 50-50 custody doesn't mean you have equal time sharing. So you have equal time sharing, which means you share the child equal amount of time. But then 50-50 custody is where you get, half the right, half the determination factors into things like education, religion, and I think it's health or medical. Those three things. And I mean, y'all can beat me up in the comments if you want. I think those are the only three things. I could be wrong, at least in our state, to where that's 50-50 custody is talking about the decision making for those major topics. And I think it's very important that you as the parents align those early on, because if you wait until the child's older to try to decipher what it's going to be, it gets very messy. Nothing in my experience, but I do see it in a few other cases right now. Relationships, families, the kids being pulled in multiple different ways. And that's tough. It's tough. You got to put the children have to be first. And everybody says that, but I'm sure you can think of a time where you say, okay, man, I didn't do that right. That wasn't the best for my child. That was what was best for me, or that was what was complicated for the mom or the dad, not so much what was best for the kid. Okay, parents, if you are in a relationship where you can't talk to the person that you conceived a child with about that child, You are in the wrong relationship. Let me say that again. Parents, if you cannot communicate with the other person that you conceived a child with, a relationship outside of that, whether it be a dating, whether it be friends, whether it be a marriage, whatever it may be, if you cannot communicate because you're being told you're not allowed to, or because the other person doesn't trust, or whatever that may be, you are in the wrong relationship, and you better get out quick, because nothing good ever comes from that. Could you imagine somebody wanting to dictate how you talk, how you communicate about your child? Like, you're going to be it doesn't end at 18, people. It doesn't end at 18. If you're somebody that says, "Oh, we just got to get through till you're 18," it does not work that way. Does not work that way. So do not let somebody else dictate the communication for your children. Now, caveat, whatever it may be, communication about the children. There is decision making, and I don't want to go too deep into this because I'm saving. There is decision making moments in your children's life or your child's life that boils down to the biological parents. Yes, it's respectful to include, if you're married, it's respectful to include the step parents in there. I'm a step parent myself. We co-parent through that as well. That's its own thing. We'll talk about that later. But there are moments where biological parents are going to have conversations. And if you can't trust, or you're the type of person that comes unhinged because they're talking to that person, you're a problem. You are a big problem. And you're probably not suited to be a step parent, and you're probably not suited to just be around that kind of lifestyle. You might as well, if that's you, if you feel that with you, or you're with somebody right now and you're like, "Oh my God, he's talking about who I'm with," you better run. You better run, because it'll only get worse. It will only get worse. And anytime that it's being perceived as okay is going to be considered what we call an act. And so one day that person's going to blow up. So you have to be able to communicate with the biological parents on certain things. I'm not saying you can't include everybody, but if you're somebody that's not allowed to speak to the biological parent, or you have to go through a third party for major topics for your children, that's insane. That is insane. Shame on the parents. Shame on the other person. That's insane to me. I don't care if I burn some people up on that one. That is the most selfish behavior I think I've ever seen in a co-parenting situation. Children need their parents. Okay. There's a mom and a dad for a reason. Man and woman for a reason. Those children need both tools from each of those parents to kind of mold and grow. Now, some of us don't get that. Some of us have single mom households, some of us have single father households, or whatever have you. But, if we're doing it all the way it's supposed to be done, the mom and dad should both be pouring into that child. And when those urgent communications come about, you have to be able to share. I couldn't imagine being in a situation where something bad happened to my kid and I would have to, ask my wife, "Hey, do you care if I call and see what's going on?" What? You're crazy. You're crazy. That's insane. I'm not, don't leave your relationship because I told you to, but I'm telling you right now, if you think that ever gets better, you're wrong. While we're on that topic, let's just flow right into dating. Let's flow right into dating. Co-parenting with dating. It's no longer about just you. You have children or a child. So if who you are dating doesn't align with your children, you shouldn't date them. If they're perfect for you on the time you don't have the kids, great. But guess what happens? What do most of us crave and want? We want to be married. We want to have a partner in life. We want to go on and, hop and skip down the glory days. Cool. Right? Hop and skip down the glory days. Cool. We want to achieve success in a relationship. We want to probably get married and do the best we can. If you're dating somebody, or you're interested in somebody, or you're in a long-term relationship with somebody, and it's only good when you're alone and not when you have the children involved, guess what? It's time to go, because at the end of the day, you got to do what's best for your children. Now, Michael, you can't tell me I can't be with somebody because they doesn't get along with my child. No, I can't, but I'm telling you as a parent, your decision making to date somebody that's only best for you, you lose when you have children. Sorry. Can't help that. I went through that. Uh, all the co-parents that I'm around and involved with, they go through that. You can now, if you want to keep your dating life separate and you have no intentions of getting married or doing anything long term, and you keep it truly separate than your parenting life, fine, date whoever. But there's no changing that. If you get into a relationship with somebody and you're like, oh man, I like them, but I don't know how they would do with my kids, or I like them, but it's probably not a good fit for long term with my kids. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your time, because those little hearts and minds and ears in your house, they hear and they see and they feel things. And so if you bring somebody into your life that's toxic, or somebody that doesn't align with your morals and values around your children, it creates a huge problem for your walls. So I think I say dating, I mean, call it dating, or looking, when you're past that point of being alone, you're ready to be with somebody. This is the part you have to consider is, okay, yeah, I'm looking for a quote unquote wife, or I'm looking for a quote unquote husband, but now you already have children. So you don't get to just look for a wife or just look for a husband. You have to look for a stepmom or a stepdad. If you are with somebody that doesn't like kids, do you think your amazing kids are going to change it? No. If somebody doesn't like kids and you're dating them and you have kids at home or a child at home, there's never going to be a day where it's like, well, I want you to meet Johnny now. I know you don't like kids. I know they annoy you, but guess what? Here's little Johnny. You're going to love him. No, they're not. They're going to not like him. And your relationships will become strained, and it's going to become a problem. Trust me, been there, done that. I think we all have. If you've experimented with co-parenting and try to move on and dating and stuff, it's hard. It's hard. I see some people. I mean, there's some people that have chosen a spouse that has caused their children to distance themselves from them. And I'm a firm believer in love, and I'm a firm believer in husband and wife. But you know what? When you're a co-parent, you enter a relationship as a parent first. Okay. Eventually, if you're married, it's your wife and your children, or your husband and your children. And we won't get into the structure of that, but we can if you disagree, because I'll tell you right now, that's how it goes. You are a parent first when you're going into a relationship. And I think it's very important that you consider how your child feels, especially if they're older. They see changes in you, or they see you become this other person, or they see this weight on your shoulders as you try to tiptoe through your relationship and parenting. That's tough. And I know, we all want love. We all want somebody to be by our side, but are you willing to sacrifice your children to find that? I think there are plenty of people out there now that are in that co-parenting phase, and you'll meet people that understand life like you have, and they will see those types of opportunities and jump on to blended family, and blended families are beautiful. Okay. I want to say that right now. I used to be so nervous of what people think of me because of my situations, but blended families are beautiful. There's a child getting the opportunity to have a parent in the home that they may not have got to have, whether it be the mom or the dad. There's a sense of trust and comfort that comes in a blended family, because you have to step out on a limb. But as you blend families, those kids have to actively step out and trust the other person, or trust the spouse that their parents chosen, and seek comfort in them. And it is a beautiful thing when it goes right. So shout out to the blended families. Shout out to all the step parents out there. Shout out for all the kids out there that are giving grace to those step parents and that co-parenting. Shout out to all the co-parents out there that are humble enough to step aside and just let their kids be raised by a village. We do it successfully. Like, we do it really well. It's just it's amazing when it works out. Not every co-parenting thing has to turn to a friendship. It doesn't. It's not built that way for everybody. You don't have to go to dinner with your co-parents or anything like that, but when the co-parents get along and everybody has one mission, and that is to raise the child or children to the best of their abilities. When that is the mission, and to shower them with love and respect, and to shower them with just anything that turns them to a whole human being. When that is the mission, it makes parenting so much easier. When you can come together for birthday parties, when you can come together for like practices and events, and you don't have to be like, oh well, it's their day, that it's hard. I don't want to be around them or whatever. Like, I mean, aren't we? My youngest son turned 2. We had my family here. We had my wife's family here. We had his mom here. We had his mom's family here. We had his mom's friends here. When you can combine things and do things together, it makes life so much easier, and it's time that you don't miss out on. And so we do that for my 2-year-old son, for my 6-year-old stepdaughter, like birthday parties. It's kind of been a joint effort, her biological dad's family, his wife, her family, my wife, her family, me. Like we all combine, we all celebrate. 15-year-old son. We've been on vacation with his other side parents, like, but we didn't get there without struggles. There's still some struggles. You don't get there without completely removing yourself from the equation and just thinking about the child. If there's one thing you take away from this early episode of this, remove your cloak, remove your selfishness, remove your pride, remove whatever you cloak yourself in as a individual. Take it off, put it to the side, and just put on your parent cloak or your parent jacket. And the other person going to do the same thing. And you're going to see a child that you've both brought to the world, not by mistake, by the way. Okay. Not by mistake, by the way. So never be ashamed of a child. It is a gift from God. It is a gift from God. And it's our job to raise those children, regardless of the outcome of our life choices. Right. We put on that parent cloak and it's all hands in, right? Everybody jumps in. Let's raise an amazing human being. Okay. And I'm getting a little choked up. I couldn't imagine not getting to be in my children's life because of a breakup or a split up. I couldn't imagine living with these rules. This is your day, your only day, and this is the time that you communicate. I get things have to be like that in some households and with some parents. I am blessed with the people that are in our village, even on the hard days, because we share time, we share efforts and energy and pickups, and we took a trip, and so we missed the kids, and hey, can we get them an extra day? Can we get them this day? Yeah, sure, of course. Not everybody gets there. It's very tough to get there. But if you get halfway there, you get to the point where you realize your kids need the other parent. I love single parents. And single parents have this strong mindset of like, I could do this on my own. I got this. And no matter how great of a single parent you are, it's not enough. And it's not against you. It's not against you, because we've all been there if you've been a single parent. It is hard. It is tiring. I look at some people that are raising their children as a single parent with nobody on the other side. And that was kind of the life that I was in. So I can tell you, when I tell you this, I'm not trying to be offensive. It's coming from somebody that was raised like that. You can work your butt off, love them, cherish them, guide them, support them. It's not enough. There's a reason why there's a mom and a dad. And it's unfair to kids. Some of us don't have fathers or mothers in our lives because they chose to bounce. And that's a totally different world. So when I say it's not enough, I'm not saying what you're doing isn't enough. You are doing an amazing job as single parents out there. I'm talking about from the makeup of the child. My mom struggles now, and there's some stuff. But even if my mom was the best parent in the world, the best, it's never gonna make up for the fact I didn't have my dad. It does. If you're a dad raising children, people are going to commend you. Cheer, yeah, you're great. You're a great single dad. You're doing it on your own. You're the best thing ever. Yes, you are. But guess what? It's never going to be enough, because guess what a child needs? Their mother. So when I say you're not enough, I don't mean from my eyes. I'm saying as a kid, there's 50% of me that was never made whole by my other parent. There's enough people in this world that abandon their kids. I want you to, like, hear me. There is enough people on this planet that will abandon their child by choice, that will choose to walk away, that will choose to forfeit rights, that will choose to not be involved in the upbringing of that child. Do not be a parent that ever blocks a parent from trying to be a parent. Do not be the parent that forcefully puts up a wall and doesn't allow a parent to be a parent. I know in some circumstances you're saying, Michael, you just don't understand. I get that. I know what you're talking about in the one off situations. I'm talking about just because you're a mom that wants to do it your way, just because you're a dad that wants to do it your way, do not use the legal system or scheduling as a way to stronghold the other parent. If you have a parent that's trying, a mom or dad that's just trying to be involved in their child's life, maybe they don't have everything figured out yet, but they're trying. Shame on you for not letting them in. I'm not saying if little Bobby's dad shows up once a month and then wants to be here. No, screw those guys. Actually, send them my way. I like to talk to them. I like to have them right here in the seat and talk to them and say, "Hey, buddy, how can you go without seeing your son? I want to know that. How can you go without seeing your dog? How can you show up once a month? Hey, don't give me hey, I'll get hot. I'll get hot right here. Send them my way. I like to chat with them publicly. I want to know. We avoid that. I see guys right now promoting their stuff or raising other kids or whatever, acting like the life's all fabulous. Dude, hey, why aren't you raising your kid? Don't know, right? Sorry, I'm getting a little heavy right now. Don't block another parent from being a parent. There's too many people that do it by choice. Moms, don't make it hard on these dads to see their kids. I don't care if he cheated on you. I don't care if he stole from you. I don't care if the house burned down the house. Okay, hold on. I do care about that. Don't divide because of your pride. Don't not allow a father or mother into the child's life because of what you all encountered in a relationship. If he cheated on you and left, or you kicked him out, or she cheated on you and left, or you both just hate each other. It's unfortunate, but if that's the case, what are you doing to your child when you block the other parent from being a parent? There's a kid out there, there's a mom out there right now. There's a tired mom out there right now looking at her children or her child, doing the best she can as a woman. But the woman doesn't have all the answers. The woman can't do a father's role. Fathers, you can't do the mother's role. We can imitate it, we can practice it, but some of this stuff is in our DNA. Okay. You need both parents. If you're a parent that hasn't been doing things right, haven't been the most involved, it's time to step up. It's time to get back in the fight. There's a single parent. I think what I was going back and saying, there's a tired single mom just begging, just wishing, hope looking at those kids and just wishing the dad would have the initiative to say, "Hey, can I get the kids? Let me have the kids. Let me have the kids for the weekend." There's probably a single dad out there that's working his butt off, having to use the village of a family to help raise the kids. And I mean, God forbid if he has a daughter, if he's a single father with a daughter, uh, I'm pretty capable father. You should see me try to put hair up. I can't. There's a single father just looking at his baby saying, God, I would love to see the mother back involved in this life. There's parents that pray the other parent would show up to help co-parent, to help raise. No matter what your situation is in co-parenting, do not be the reason the other person is restricted from seeing the kids, unless it's for safety and negligence or whatever. But just if it's just because it doesn't align with your schedule or you don't want things to be off, you know what? There might be a day he goes to his dad's house and he goes to bed later, goes to mom's house and eats junk food. And maybe at your house he's used to eating seaweed rolls and protein bars, and maybe at mom's eats marshmallows and Reese Pieces. Who cares? Those are minute. The main thing is they get loved by both parents. I just want to make sure to reiterate, if you're a child right now that's in a blended home, I hope you never feel it was your fault. If If you're a teenage kid or maybe you're in your 20s, maybe you're grown, maybe you're 40 years old and your parents have always been separated. It was never your fault, right? Things happen in life. Um, don't wear that on your shoulders. If you're a mom and a dad in the early stages of co-parenting, it's tough. It is tough. It is tough. Pick and choose your battles and take the emotions for each other out of the equation. If you're somebody that's been doing this for a long time, don't get caught up in the routineness of it. Don't get caught up in the easy flow of things. Stay committed to working together, no matter what that looks like. And listen. I should have a lot of moms that if they watch the show, they should know I call out dads for being crappy dads when they're crappy dads. Moms, stop trying to control everything. Stop trying to dictate every single minute of every single day with your children. Allow the dads to be in there. Allow the dads who want to be part of that scheduling to be part of that scheduling. Right? It's not a one person job. I know you got it. We know you can handle it. But sometimes people just want to be involved. Okay. I'm guilty for taking over things and rolling with it and assuming that I don't need to communicate with people. It's wrong of me. That's normally done by mothers and not the dads, but there's some things that I do that are a little different. I'm scared to go back and edit this. I wonder if I'm going to make anybody hot. Shout out to all the co-parents out there doing it right. If you need advice, need to share your opinions, I've got a ton of messages to get out there. I mean, when I open this up to co-parenting, to people, let people vent, they vented. So I got a lot to share, and we'll go in this co-parenting series. We're going to have some regular guests hop back on, but throughout the weekdays, I might do some short little messages from those folks so they can get their word out. Continue to follow us on this journey. I appreciate all the growth. You guys are amazing. And without God, none of this is possible. And I'm just blessed that I can be a vessel to share these stories. I'm excited to hear your stories, and I ask you that bear with me as we grow this hair out. Right? Let's see what's going to happen. This is co-parenting right here. See this? All this right here. This is co-parenting. This is successful co-parenting. I'm just kidding. It probably is a little bit. Still trying to figure out how to close shows. Once I get going, I hate to stop. If you're interested in being on the show, remote or in person, make sure you reach out to us on any of our social media platforms. YouTube, we have the email up. Please get in touch with us. We want to share your stories. We want to talk to you. If you guys made it this far, if you don't mind, like the video, share it, please. Gets the word out. And till next time, that sounds cheesy. Man, I get real red, boys. I get real red, don't I? I get real red. Hope everybody had a great Valentine's Day. It was a good time. Shout out to my wife for supporting me on this journey and allowing me to do this. Shout out to my kids for tolerating me. Shout out to the people I co-parent with for working with me when I'm in my complex moments. And it's Michael Horn for Fatherhood Podcast, and we are signing off. Peace.